Follower Dungeons, here we go again, my friends. 10.2.5, the most massive feature probably added for a long time to World of Warcraft that made me very excited. Today, I will tell you what's good about them, what they should be used for, and what they should not be used for. It's one of those casually friendly, beginner-friendly, no BS guides. I hope you will enjoy this. If you do, please don't leave without leaving me a little like and subscribe for more of similar guides from me. Alright, without any further ado, I've tested Follower Dungeons rather extensively, pushing the daily limit that Blizzard currently imposed, and I think I know enough to talk to you about this in an educated way. Let's go. Alright, what are they good for? Well, they are good for, believe it or not, naked alt gearing. What do I mean by that? Well, if you have a new fresh character, maybe your main, maybe your alt actually, coming up to level 60, at level 60 you can jump into those dungeons and start gearing your alt with some limitations, so bear with me. Okay, so first of all, what's good about this approach to gearing? What's good is that it's an instant queue. Even if you are a hunter or a warlock or something like this, the queue is instant, so you get into the dungeon group instantly, and those dungeon mates are not going to complain. That is one kind of overarching big massive benefit. Yeah, I'm not going to single it out, it's just an overarching massive benefit compared to playing with real players. So social anxiety level is going to be down for you if that is of any particular concern. The follower dungeons are basically normal dungeons. They drop 421 item level blue gear, which is obviously better than widely accessible right now, casually friendly, kind of beginner friendly 415 gear that you get from world quests and just pretty much everywhere, including the BOA bind on account tokens. If you have a rich uncle alt or a main, that can pass some of the gear to your completely fresh, completely green alt. You with me? So in that regard, some gearing through follower dungeons is absolutely a method. It absolutely is legit. It helps you also to get a raid ready, which basically means that you're to push your item level closer and into the zone of 424. 424 item level is what you need to enter LFR, and as casuals, as beginners, at least that's how I play, that is kinda usually the ceiling where I take all my alts to. And I have a lot of alts, so I then start another one and I get to that point. So that's pretty good. You can also target the dungeons, so it's not a fully random, just a queue for a random follower dungeon. You can select them, literally, and you can choose to go into some and avoid others, and more on that a little bit later. So speaking of gearing, the point number 2 is that you can do gear farming, targeted gear farming, which is a specific thing to call out, and it's very important. It's different from general gearing, right? So while the gear is not guaranteed as a loot drop from each boss, kind of simulating the real dungeon experience because gear is not guaranteed, you can still use follower dungeons to run to a specific boss, then leave, then requeue and go again. Why? Well, because the social element is not present. You are not annoying anyone, and you're not feeling bad about abandoning the group and restarting another group. Essentially, to start with, if it matters to you, it should, because we are all social players. It's an MMO RPG. But running to a certain boss, then leaving, is completely applicable to follower dungeons fully. Specific example, if you're a tank, if you're gearing a fresh tank, running Nokud offensive dungeon to the first boss, Granith, the dragon, killing him, I will talk to you as far as the packs are concerned, the patrol packs and everything else around it, it's not the easiest boss, I suppose, for beginners, but it's a legit example where the first boss drops probably one of the best tanking trinkets as you start the game. We're not talking about high end, we're talking about starting the game. So that's your advice, no BS advice, in case you wonder where is no BS. Well, that's no BS. You go to Granith, it takes about 4 minutes and 40 seconds, and I killed him several times. It took me about 5 attempts to kill Granith to get that trinket, just to make a point, to see how to farm that gear. And get the trinket, enjoy yourself. You will not get anything in the overworld just yet. Before you enter raids, you will not get anything better than this trinket. So mark my words, okay? Now, the point number 3 is you can use it for what Blizzard advertised the follower dungeons for, and that is learning your new role. Let's say Augmentation Evoker, very new to me. That's what I'm gonna do, and there is, spoiler alert for you, for those of you who are still watching, you're rewarded, my friend, right now. Right now is a chance to give me a like. because that guide is coming, casually friendly as well, obviously. So you can use it to learn a role. What is the biggest kind of call out here? The biggest call out is obvious. No one is going to be annoyed at you. No one is going to hurry you along. It is your speed. It is your speed. That's great. Now, with your speed, speaking of your speed, point number 4 that these dungeons, follower dungeons, are good for is that you have a choice. You can choose to lead the group at your own speed, or you can follow the leader. You can follow the leader. You can basically toggle that button and basically allow the follower to lead. Mind you, in the bad that we're about to very quickly blitz through, I will talk to you about the fact that they're very bad leaders. These followers, they're very bad leaders, but you can do it, and the choice is a good thing, always. And finally, the final thing that you can use these dungeons for is leveling. So, gaining experience. I would not at this stage have tested the dungeons long enough to confidently tell you, but my gut feel tells me from what I've seen and from the specs that I've seen, such as that the follower dungeons are only available between levels 60 and 70, I would not use it as an exclusive method to level up and gain experience. I would not. It's not fast enough. It's not fast enough. Followers are dumb and all that kind of stuff, where we smoothly are going to transition now to the bad part of it. But as a change of pace, ultimately as a change of pace, from world quests, from campaign quests and stuff like this, it's not too bad. You can probably use it. Now, on to the bad, okay? Brace yourselves, pay attention. This is something that you should not use follower dungeons for, in my humble opinion, but I welcome yours in the comments down below. Always, always, my friend. Okay, first of all, you cannot do anything with them before level 60, which is disappointing, because I cannot see the system itself is solid enough to put it into any dungeon gap, dungeon range, sorry, the range of dungeons, like levels 10 to bloody 30, 30 to 50, whatever. For some reason, it is only available 60 to 70. Yes, I believe that they must be testing the system with this patch, and then it probably is there to stay in the game. I hope so, and I hope that they will expand it. But before 60, you can't do anything. It's disappointing. Now, with that also, point number 2 is that it's only giving you normal dungeon level and normal dungeon gear. Yes, some of it is because it is beginner-orientated system to teach you some stuff, or allegedly to teach you some stuff. But as I will tell you more in this little section, if you're still listening to me, I do not think that the system is good for teaching or for learning. I actually don't think so. I think it's good for gearing. I think it might be good for a little bit of leveling here and there, change of pace. I think it's good overall, but not for teaching, simply because those followers are horrible teachers and it's very, very, very slow. Okay, and so speaking of the fact that it's only normal dungeons, I would have loved for them to at least expand the follower dungeon system to heroics as well, so that there is an agency of the player, so that if you choose to, if you're in love with the system for one or another reason, and you want to go slow and you want to, I don't know, gear your alts that way, quite substantially high up, then why not? Why not allow you to do that through heroics as well? But because Blizzard somehow thought that it's just for complete noobs, etc., they probably thought that heroics are just that one little bit too hard. So they probably thought that it's a bit too hard. And that they might be not wrong here. Okay, so that is speaking of too hard. Let's talk about point number 3 here. That's bad about the follower dungeons, that you should not use this system for. If you are afraid of bad leaders, for the lack of a better word. So if you have an intention and expectation that your followers are gonna lead you nicely, hold your hand through the dungeon, here is the better path through this convoluted pathway of this dungeon gyro. It's not gonna happen, okay? So trying to learn properly how to run the dungeon, not just get through it, get some gear, but learn how to do it properly as a tank, let's say. This method would do you a disservice. Normal dungeon even, yes, putting up with sometimes a queue, sometimes a little bit of social anxiety, but there are methods to deal with this as well, would do a much better service for you, in my humble opinion. So if you are anxious, but you are heeding my kind of advice here, and you want to do the normal dungeons of heroics over the follower dungeons as an asterisk, no BS advice on the side, my advice in general to you is queue for normal dungeon, don't talk. Be friendly, yeah, use an emote of wave at people or whatever. Don't talk. Just don't talk and follow through, and that's how you will learn a lot more. as far as pathing through the dungeon is concerned than anything else. Okay, now back to the followers. So the followers can lead technically, but they're bad leaders. They're slow, they are rather painful, depending on the dungeon. So particular dungeons I would avoid as part of the no BS advice is Brackenhide Hollow. Just never do it. Just never do it. It's a horrible dungeon. Pathing is complex. Trash is everywhere. It's horrible. And no good offensive other than killing Granith, the very first boss. I think for a complete beginner who expects the followers to help a lot, is going to be painful, because there are a lot of stuns, there are a lot of charges, there is a lot of dispersion of the mobs. For example, if you're trying to fight as a group, there will be charger mobs who will try to gain distance from you, archers that will try to... Anyway, it's hard to keep them together, so to speak. And your followers are going to hop around, leap back, try to pretend to be real players, but they do it without any consideration and looking for paths or anything like this. They will pull everything. That brings us to point number 4. They are not just bad leaders, but you cannot skip any content with them. Very rarely you'll be able to skip content, mostly by chance. They are not great on pathing themselves. They will not choose the best path. They will not always stick to you if you're a tank to make sure that they don't pull stuff around. They could be hopping around, they could be far behind you as well, trailing behind you. It would be good if there was an extra option, kind of another toggle that would actually just select between the 3 modes. Follow me close, follow me further away, wait here, because I'll line of sight pull, for example, if you know what line of sight is as a tank. So ultimately, I can tell you, unless you're cleaning everything as you go through the dungeon, unless you pick up everything literally, yeah, well, you can do that. It's just very inefficient and slow. It is a rather nightmarish experience to tank for those stupid followers. Doable, but I don't think it's particularly enjoyable. Mage, I have to call out the mage, the NPC mage in your group, who is a particular idiot. And if you're a tank, multiple times when I've been a tank, mage tried to be the leader, and that mage will act like a tank. That mage will not choose the best line of approach. They will simply charge into the group, aggro everything, try to face tank and whatever, and then it's on you to try and peel the aggro off them. Not smart, not very good, okay? And ranged, like I mentioned, Hunter and the Mage sometimes will be really far back. The only good thing about the Mage is that they will ice block if they pull aggro, but that hardly helps you or the rest of the group, okay? Now, final thing to mention here, and that's sort of, it's a small thing, but I'll mention it anyway, is that the gear drops are not guaranteed. So if you think that I'm going in there and I'm the only real player, everyone else is an NPC and they don't need gear, so all gear is mine, well, yes, however, you will simply not get drops. It simulates the experience as if the roll was not in your favor and you simply didn't get anything from a particular boss. That situation is there. Please understand it. It's not a freebie carousel. You go in there and the drop is guaranteed from each boss. It's not, okay? And this is it, my friends. I may have missed something, so tell me in the comments down below what have I missed. I hope this qualifies in your mind as a no BS guide. We talked only real stuff here, so please do give me a like if you agree. Talk to me in the comments down below once again, and I will produce more content like this for new specs, for new other kind of things in World of Warcraft over the coming weeks. So if you're not subscribed yet, now is your chance to do that. Thank you for watching, and I'll talk to you next time.